Hi everyone, and welcome back to Big OGGIE World, and welcome back to my kitchen, which quite frankly is a bit of a mess today, but you know, we're not a working kitchen, we're a family home, and we're in the middle of the school holidays and we're building up to John's golf day and everything is everywhere and it's all a mess. So I'm still working along the precipice that to buy treats for school holidays is just way too expensive at the minute. So I am making the treats for the kids, and up to now is going really well. Now this week we saw a new book in Sainsbury's, and we do love a cookbook, you know that. So we have bought this one. It's a Jane's Patisserie book. Now I haven't got her first book, this is her second book, and the reason I didn't buy the first one was because I think it's mainly sweet treats, sweet bakes if you like. And although I actually don't, thinking about it, I don't have a single book of just sweet baking things, because I do like to do my savoury bakes. I'm much more of a savoury person myself, but you know, I know that everybody likes a bit of cake or whatever, and I'm quite happy to make it, but I do like a cookbook that spans both areas if you like, and this one does it brilliantly. She's got some fantastic recipes in here, and today I'm going to be doing two out of this book. So the first one we're going to do is a sweet one. We're going to do a lemon drizzle bundt cake. Now we've not done a bundt cake before. I've had a bundt tin for a long time. Sorry about the oven, but I need it on because this is going to go quite quick. It's quite an easy recipe. So to do this you need a bundt tin. Now these come in all different shapes, sizes, designs, patterns, you name it, you can get it, okay? What I have found though is that the more intricate the tin is, the more expensive the tin is, and you can pay 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds for a bundt cake tin. The other thing to remember about bundt cake tins are, because there are a lot of nooks and crannies, you really need to make sure that it is greased properly. Now Jane recommends greasing it with butter and also then wafting, for want of a better expression, wafting a bit of flour over it as well. Now I'm not going to do that because I have got a cake release, and from what I've heard about cake release, they don't fail. They're perfect every time, it says. So I'm going to trust that. I've used cake release a lot, but mainly just in square tins, and yes, it's never stuck. So we're going to give it a test today with my bundt cake tin. Now obviously when you grease your bundt cake you need to get into all the bits, but also remember the actual cone in the middle, because there's no point if you do all of this and then it sticks around the actual funnel, okay? So I'm going to grease with my cake release and then we will crack on. Now the thing about cake release is a little bit goes a long way, so although it's quite intricate, don't go berserk with it. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit around, get my brush and start working it in. Okay, so that's me all done. Now, if you do use butter, use melted butter and a brush, because it's so much easier, especially if you have got nooks and crannies. If you've got a plain one, I don't know if you can see the cake that Jane made, it's quite a plain cake. It's probably a little bit easier, but nonetheless make sure it's greased well or we're going to have problems. So because this recipe is so fast, you need your oven on to preheat. If you've got a fan oven, it's 140 degrees, 160 if you're not fan forced, and there's no mention of gas. So I will find out the gas. No gas. I will find out the gas and put it in. There's a picture of the ingredients at the beginning, and John will put the list of ingredients at the end, as he always does. So to start this, we need to take some butter, quite a lot of butter. It's 300 grams of butter into a dish that goes. It needs to be quite soft, so sort of room temperature if you can. And we are literally going to cream together the butter and the sugar. Now the recipe itself is very easy. It's 300 grams of butter, 300 grams of caster sugar, 300 grams of self-raising flour and 6 eggs. So not difficult. It's a lemon cake, and so we're going to add the zest of 3 lemons, and then we're going to use the juice of the lemons to do the icing to drizzle over the top. So in the meantime, I'm going to crack on with my butter and sugar and be back once that's done. Excuse the noise. Scrape it down a bit before I start adding some eggs. There we go. So we're going to add 6 eggs, obviously a little bit at a time, and give it a really good beat in the middle, in between rather. If your mixture does split, don't panic, beat it really well. If it doesn't come back by just beating it, then you can add a little bit of flour and that'll bring it back. The key is to make sure that you mix the eggs in very well before you add the next one. 1 egg. Now, that's all of my eggs, butter and sugar in there. So the next thing I'm going to do is add in the flour and the zest of 3 lemons. When you buy lemons, please make sure that they are unwaxed, otherwise you'll have a nasty half a candle in your cake, which you don't want. And in goes the flour. We are then going to beat it again. Goodness me, I'm making a mess today. It's flying everywhere. I've seen it go. So I'm mixing all this in, and then it goes into our cake tin. Into the Bundt cake. Now, this is where you need to be a bit careful. You need to get it into your tin, but obviously not all in the same place. There we go. Now, try and level it out as best you can. Now, it's worth taking your time with this, because remember, you've got a lot of nooks and crannies, and the last thing you want is to have a big air hole in one area. Try and scrape the stuff off the sides. And then what I'm going to do just once is just drop it in case there was any air bubble. Now this is going to go into the oven for 65 to 70 minutes, so it's a long slow bake, but you've done the hard work. So make yourself a cup of tea and relax, read a magazine for an hour, whatever floats your boat. So in it goes, and I'll be back when it's cooked. So the cake is almost done. I took it out at 65 minutes and it still wasn't quite there, so I put it back in for another 5 minutes and it's about to beep. 1 second. There we go. Now, whilst that's been cooking, in here I have 75 mils of lemon juice, which actually was the 3 lemons that you zested for the zest to go into the cake, and 75 grams of caster sugar, and I've dissolved it. So now you need to poke holes. I literally only have a knife, but if you've got a skewer or something along those lines, poke holes around the cake. It smells delicious. Like so. And whilst it's hot, so straight out of the oven, we're going to drizzle the lemon drizzle all over the cake. Now we need to leave that for 20 minutes to soak it all in, and after that we will turn the tin, hopefully remove the cake and allow it to cool on a wire rack. So 20 minutes from now. Right, so our cake is still very hot, but it has been sat in the tin for about 25 to 30 minutes after I poured the glaze on. Now here comes the bum clenching minute, where we have to turn this out. Will it work? Will it not? Unfortunately, the thing with a bundt cake is it's not the type of tin that you can go around with a knife and hope for the best. So here goes. If it goes wrong, you'll probably never see this video. Now, it looks like it's done it. Yes, look at that. There's a tiny little bit of a stick in the bottom, but you can't really see it. Certainly made no difference to the actual shape of the cake. Cake release for the win, I say. Look at that. Smells delicious. You can see all the lovely syrup that's soaked into it. So now I'm going to leave that up on the side to cool completely, and we will ice it later on. One lemon drizzle bundt cake. Okay, so the cake is now completely cool, and lovely it looks too. So it's time to decorate with some icing. So I've got 100 grams of icing sugar in here, which I have sifted because I think it makes it easier to mix. And into that you're going to need to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm just using Jiffy lemon out of a bottle for this because you can't guarantee how much juice is in a lemon. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon to start with and see how we go. Now I struggle with icing. I never know whether it's thick enough, too thick or too thin. It always keeps me guessing. And the thing with this is you want it thick because you want it to cling to the cake, but you don't want it so thick that you have to spread it, if that makes sense. So that is too thick, but I don't need a whole tablespoon more. I'm just going to add it literally a tiny bit at a time. Right, I suspect it's too runny, but I'm going to give it a go and see. It's actually not too bad. You want it to run a bit, but you don't want it to run all the way. And we are literally sort of, this is a messy type ice. You're not looking for perfect symmetry or anything like that. Just looking to get a little bit of icing on each of your slices. One perfectly imperfect iced lemon drizzle bundt cake. Now I'll get some pictures and then I will cut a slice and you will be able to see what it looks like all the way through. Right, so let's dive in. There we go. Perfectly, come close if I can. There we go, lovely piece of cake. I'm going to cut a very thin slice because I can't eat much cake in one go anyway. So let's give it a taste. It's actually very light. It's got a very springy texture, which is nice. Lovely lemony. Brilliant. Very, very good. The last time I tried to make a cake in my bundt tin, it went totally wrong. So I'm very, very pleased and proud that I managed to get it done properly this time for you. So, if you enjoyed this video, vlog, whatever you want to call it, please give me a thumbs up. Go over and hit the subscribe button, that'd be amazing. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when I'm around, because I am a bit sporadic at the minute, but I am trying to get back to the proper 3 videos a week for you, okay? I'm trying. That's about it really. You can go over on Facebook and find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, I think. I'm not sure about this new one. I don't even know what it's called, but no doubt, Noah and John, we probably are there too. So hope you all enjoyed it and we will see you all again very soon. Bye for now.